Hello and welcome to ELL Plus. I'm Boglarka Lakos.
And I'm Susanna Lee in this week's program.
As airstrikes against ISIS continue in Syria, protesters here in the UK make themselves heard in Lewisham.
Prince Charles visit the annual meeting of business in the community in Tower Hamlets.
Demand for food banks in Croydon increases as the festive season of Christmas approaches.
And a small South London gin distillery is fundraising with plans to go big.
Following on from the vote in Parliament to bomb Syria last week and airstrikes launched by RAF jets, protesters unhappy with this decision have taken to the streets of Lewisham to say, "Stop bombing Syria." Stop the War Coalition is organising these protests in London in the build-up to a national demonstration which will take place on Saturday. Areej Zayat reports.
We don't want another war!
5, 6, 7, 8!
Stop the killing, stop the hate!
1, 2, 3, 4!
Don't bomb Syria, not in my name, no airstrikes, are just a few of the signs that flanked New Cross Road on Tuesday afternoon. This crowd, which was mainly constituted of students, was there to protest against the latest airstrikes that the UK government has launched against ISIS in Syria.
When I say warfare, you say welfare! Warfare!
Welfare!
Warfare!
Welfare!
A series of protests like these took place in London in the week following the airstrikes, all under the umbrella of Stop the War Coalition. This organization is aiming to build up a crowd for the national demonstration taking place on Saturday. In 2003, it mobilized 2 million protesters onto the streets of London to oppose the Iraq War.
Yeah, we just also wanted to send a direct message to the Syrian people and the refugees and asylum seekers who have come from Syria into Europe to say that we don't want to alienate you and that we kind of hear your voice and we want to reach out to you.
It's done without listening to the British people. I think it's done thoughtlessly, completely. I think it's just an act of war and it's completely dehumanizing and desensitizing the public and the world to war in general.
Stop the War Coalition has itself been accused of using hostile and warlike tactics. It was accused of bullying MPs before their vote on bombing Syria. About 90,000 people used a formatted letter lobbying MPs to vote no in the House of Commons. A single march to the office of Labour MP Stella Creasy was viewed as intimidating. The coalition responded by saying, "Our letters were politely worded, and we will continue to protest, as it is our democratic right." Other organizations with similar goals are also speaking out. Ex-servicemen and women from the Veterans for Peace organization threw away their war medals in Downing Street last week in disgust at British airstrikes in Syria.
We don't want another war! 5, 6, 7,
They hope to convince people that war is not the answer to the problems of the 21st century, as these protesters would wholeheartedly agree. Areej Zayat, ELL Plus.
This year, Prince Charles will mark his 30th year as president of business in the community. On Wednesday, he was at the Troxy Theatre in Tower Hamlets to attend their annual general meeting and met with local business owners and social enterprise workers. Ninka and Bai was there and has this report.
Business in the community encourages companies to work together to tackle issues in today's society. The charity has over 800 members and employs 400 people across the UK. Prince Charles and the members met at the Troxy Theatre.
Papa's Pickles is a food social enterprise, family-run, community-driven, and it was basically born out of a desire to work with women who came to the UK after the conflict in Sri Lanka. So we're really a platform to kind of value the work that women do within the home and use the existing skills they have in the kitchen topped up with training to access an income, confidence, support.
There are 70,000 social enterprises in the UK dealing with social problems, employing 1 million people and making £24 billion for Britain's economy.
Well, I mean, the event today is our Responsible Leadership Network. So it's an annual event, and it's all about celebrating the role of business in society. In these boroughs in particular, we've been working on a project since 2011 to create jobs by supporting social enterprises in the Olympic host boroughs.
Prince Charles's attendance at the AGM helped raise the profile of the scheme, and his support gives much needed publicity.
This morning, Prince Charles was here at the Troxy to discuss pressing social and environmental issues. There were more than 500 guests, and the scheme has in the past created over 3,000 jobs. Ninkan by ELL Plus.
That was Ninkan Bai reporting from Tower Hamlets. Now it's time to catch up with the news. Our correspondent Areej Zayat joins us with a news update. Hello, Areej.
Scotland Yard is arming the police this week in what they call gang crime hotspots in London to make it as hard as possible for criminals to carry or hide guns. Actually, they're aiming for a tough crackdown on youth violence. Although this is a London-wide operation, with codename Kestrel, there will be an additional emphasis on those areas that have seen higher number of guns discharges. Lambeth, Lewisham, Enfield, Haringey, Brent and Hackney are just some of the wards that will be targeted this week. And actually just today, the Met Police announced on their website that this is going to happen, and they said that since the operation started, they've seized 8 firearms, 4 knives, 2 swords, 11 kilograms of what is believed to be cocaine, 3 kilograms of cannabis, 1 kilogram of MDMA, 4 kilograms of crack cocaine, heroin with a street value of £250,000, and 8,000 wraps of cocaine. And there have been 8 arrests as well. They are determined to make getting hold of a gun as difficult as possible by targeting those who convert or manufacture guns, seeking out hiding places to disrupt their use, and identifying those who carry guns for others.
As Christmas draws closer, more and more people are relying on food banks as household budgets come under pressure, and some people have little or no income to provide food for their families. The Croydon Community Food Store is a food bank dedicated to providing emergency food to Croydon local residents. Amanda Rooney paid a visit to the food store and has this report.
The Croydon Community Food Store is an independent food bank which provides free food to local people faced with money problems. 24% of Croydon's population live below the poverty line. The growing number of food banks in the UK can be their only resource of food.
So what we give them is equivalent to 3 days worth of food. So that's 3 days worth of breakfast, lunch and dinner. It would have a mixture of cereal, pastas, rice, beans, tinned meats and fish, soups, vegetables, things that they could make up a complete meal with. Things like jam. So for people who don't take cereal, for example, they might take a jam so that they can have a bit of toast in the morning or something like that.
It is now widely recognised that children are being affected by the severe lack of money to buy food.
There are a small part of the population in the Western world and in London who don't have the budget, for whom it is a survival issue, who don't have the money to spend on food. I saw that with the school food plan. In schools you had children coming in hungry and being fed by teachers, and not enough is being done, I don't think, to make sure that we catch that small but very important part of the population.
The lack of funds to pay their bills is another concern that independent food banks face, which could lead to their closure.
We're finding it quite difficult. Although the food comes in, you know, the community is brilliant with getting food. If I put a Twitter out and say we're low of food, or I tell some of the churches that we're dealing with that we're low of food, they will always ensure that we've got food, and public will come in and they will drop food. But it's a case of there's volunteers in here, they need to be managed, there's telephone bills to be paid, dustbin bills to be paid, and you know, all of those things, you know, to cater for those and then have to think about myself and my family, I'm finding it quite hard.
The locals who attend the Croydon Community Food Store not only see it as a place to meet, eat and talk, but also to receive first aid. The Croydon Community Food Store is a beacon of hope to the local community. The volunteers hope it can obtain funding to continue its work. Amanda Rooney, ELL Plus, Croydon.
We're going to take a break now. Stay with us on ELL Plus News. When we come back, we'll be finding out why gin is making a comeback as the Christmas tipple, and we'll be visiting Christmas markets to see how Londoners and visitors are celebrating the festive season. Welcome back to ELL Plus News with Susanna Lee
and Boglar Kalakos. Christmas party season is in full swing, and for many people their choice of drink is gin. With so many spirits being made all over the world, it's hard to find traditional local gin, but a London-based drinks company has popped up in the neighbourhood. Sambrook has this report.
Soho, known for its theatres and bars, but it's not every day that you see a gin pop-up shop. Gin is a thoroughly British drink invented in the Victorian era as a medicine, but soon found its way into the glasses of the everyday drinker, and it hasn't left since. Dodds Gin is a London-based drinks maker that's been making gin and whiskey for 5 years.
For me, it's all about liquid, really. So I come from a drinks background, and yeah, when we make spirit, it has to be good. So, you know, the alcohol is organic. We're using local honey. We try to source the best quality ingredients we can. So it's the one thing that isn't organic actually is the honey. Red raspberry leaf comes from the UK, and then we work with really good sustainable suppliers from around the world otherwise.
Dodds Gin is actually made in South London in a shared space where you can find bars and pop-up food restaurants. Making gin requires care and attention to detail, with so many ingredients going in like lime peel, coriander, and most importantly the juniper berries. These are all helping to make its unique taste. And this Christmas, Dodds will be hoping you'll be seeing their bottles on the shelves of pubs everywhere. Sambrook, ELL Plus.
Sambrook reporting there. And now here's Majd Bouchto with a news update.
The president of Goldsmiths Islamic Society has resigned after a motion of no confidence, and this was caused by some allegation about a series of tweets, homophobic messages he is alleged to have tweeted recently. Just to mention that the tweets date back to last August, and the account you can't find it anymore, doesn't exist. So to understand how it all started, it began last Monday when the Goldsmith Atheist, Secularist and Humanist Society organized a conference, and the topic was apostasy, blasphemy and free expression in the age of ISIS. The Islamic Society were against this meeting and even warned the EASH Society about it, claiming that Miriam Namazi, the main speaker, is known for her Islamophobic and controversial positions. So they judged that her attendance would add more fuel to the fire. So the LGBTQ society backed them and issued a statement condemning the behaviors of some students believed to be members of the Humanist Society. So this report seemed to have upset some students of the LGBTQ society who released those pictures of the homophobic tweets and pushed Muhammad Talal, who was the president of the Goldsmiths University Islamic Society, to resign.
Today I'm going to talk about two related football matches. One is Southend United against Millwall, and the other is Everton against Crystal Palace. The Millwall booked a Johnstone Paint Trophy era final date with Oxford United after they secured a 2-0 win over Southend United at Roos Hall. The skipper Steve Morrison gave the Lions the lead in the 34th minute with a smart back post finish, and Millwall doubled their lead 20 minutes after the break when midfielder Sean Williams hit the second from distance on 65 minutes. The manager Neil Harris was very proud of his team for the way in which they performed, especially after exiting the Emirates FA Cup in disappointing fashion last time out. He actually commented that their hold-up play and the way they linked things together was especially impressive, and it was a very good team experience, and he's really pleased that they have made it through to the area final. And about the Crystal Palace game, it was quite an entertaining game in general. It was a draw play. Second half goals from Scott Dan and Romelu Lukaku ensured that both sides leave the Goodison Park with a point. And the Eagles boss Alan Pardew believed that the draw was a fair result. There were a number of chances at either end, but it was Palace who struck first, with the defender Scott Dan again a goal scorer. Everton equalized within 5 minutes, but the defender said his team is happy with their performance and is confident in going into this weekend's game against Southampton, which is going to take place this Saturday at Selhurst, kicking off at 3 p.m. And that's all I've got for you today.
The annual Festive Souk, which features businesses from Arab countries, including Morocco, Palestine, Syria and Egypt, is part of the work that the British Arab Centre does to improve the British public's understanding of the Arab world. Andrea Polanco was there and has this report.
Festive Souk brings together artists from the Arab world to share their work and experiences with the UK. From jewellery to books, the event promotes the richness and diversity of the Arab culture. The Arab British Centre says it is critical to highlight the positive contributions. After all, some 2.8 million Muslims live in the UK.
A place like this is very much needed in the UK. There's quite a big Arab diaspora living in this country, and I think a lot of people identify with this place.
In the wake of events in Paris and the attack in Leicester, it's a sensitive time in London right now. But culture, the organisers say, can help bridge any gap.
And the perception of the Arab world is quite a negative one, and I think it's really up to us to be able to break down that. For me, the Arabic culture is such a beautiful culture. It's so spiritual, it's so inspiring. It's not about the politics, it's about the culture, and I think, you know, the society that we live in, you know, need to understand there are so many, you know, different communities and cultures within the Arab world itself. I think people don't understand that. They just see it as a block and they don't see the individual cultures that exist.
Culture, of course, also has a big potential, but it is hard for new companies to break into the UK market. Feel is based in Cairo, Egypt. Their first time in London is already opening doors.
Yeah, it has. Like, it already has. Like, putting me in contact with several like-minded organizations where I can showcase our films, and yeah, it's a nice platform for like all of the people that work in the Middle East, because working with handmade things or handmade products is very difficult. It's lovely to make, but it's very difficult to market and like put into a business context.
And while the Arab brands and displays sell culture and innovation, brands like Zayat also provide jobs for Palestinian farmers living on their occupation, restrictions and heavy taxes on their produce, and therefore their livelihood.
This initiative started from very small personal interest in the olive oil. It supports 6,000 Palestinian farmers, which is a very considerable and positive contribution to make.
And a positive contribution is what this visitor felt.
It's amazing. I think you must tell the world about what you're having here. It's really very touching for me. There is a personal touch. You know, it's like that you do with all of your heart and your soul.
This is the third and biggest festive souk. In the new year, the Arab British Centre will be hosting other events to help bridge the perception gap between the Arab world and the UK. Andrea Polanco for ELL+.
Christmas markets have become not just a place to shop, but also a hugely popular leisure attraction. our reporter Jooyoon Kim went out to test the temperature in various Christmas markets in London.
Christmas is the biggest holiday in Britain. Christmas markets have increasingly become one of the main features of the season. Here on the South Bank, market goers can enjoy hot mulled wine and drinks in a cozy Christmas setting. They sell biscuits, hot chocolate, and various kind of Christmas goods. So, what do people think about Christmas markets?
I mean, I'm an American, so the Christmas markets in London are very different from what I'm used to back home. And two, I like the atmosphere.
People here, they're very happy. I really feel that New Year is coming.
I think it's quite a nice atmosphere for December. It's nice. I like that it's got a theme. This one especially, it's got a nice little German theme. Some of them are a bit tacky, but this one seems like very nice for the kids as well.
It's fantastic. It's lovely for tourism. It's really good to just like generate some money for the economy, which is never bad.
The tradition of Christmas market dates back to the late Middle Ages in the German-speaking countries. In 1982, the first Christmas market was set up in England. Here in the Tate Modern Christmas Market, pretty wooden chalets fill the spaces in London for this traditional Christmas market. Handmade wooden toys, unique jewelry, and decorations with festive music help add to the Christmas spirit.
People from different countries, they discover something new, which is very old, but it's new to them.
Whether it's festive food, gifts, or events, London boasts their Christmas markets and fairs. Locals are spoiled for choice. With showing at the Tate Modern, South Bank, and Leicester Square Christmas markets, it looks like this tradition is here to stay. Jooyoon Kim, ELL Plus, South London.
Jooyoon Kim reporting there. Now let's take a look at the weather with Andrea Polanco.
Today will be cloudy and breezy with outbreaks of rain spread across London and the southeast region from the northwest this afternoon, with some heavy bursts possible. Tonight will be cloudy and outbreaks of rain continue, turning heavier and more persistent through the evening. The rain will slow down for a time overnight before more persistent rain develops again from the west towards the dawn. The outlook for Saturday through to Monday is unsettled and rather cloudy throughout with outbreaks of rain at times, perhaps heavy starting the weekend. Generally mild with strong winds possible, particularly on Saturday. The temperatures for today, Thursday, highs will be 13 degrees and lows 8 degrees. It will be on the chilly side on Friday as temperatures will dip to 5 degrees. Saturday through to Monday, temperatures will remain relatively the same. So, if you have plans going into the weekend, make sure you plan accordingly.
That's it for now. Thank you for joining us.
We'll be taking a break from our regular weekly shows now over the Christmas break, but we'll be back in January. For now, from both of us, goodbye.
Goodbye.